Hare Krishna, welcome back to our online reading retreat labs. So, in the last session, we have read the first canto, third chapter, up to the first five verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, today we are going to continue with the sixth verse of the same chapter. So, I'll be sharing my database link. So, the chapter number three, which we are reading, that is the name of the chapter, is Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So we are going to start with the verse number 6. So we'll be reading as usual only the translation and the purport part. SD 1.3.6 translation. First of all, in the beginning of creation, there were four unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, who, being situated in a vow of celibacy, underwent severe austerities for realization of the absolute truth. Purport. The creation of the material world is affected, maintained, and then again annihilated at certain intervals. So, there are different names of the creations in terms of the particular types of Brahma, the father of the living beings in the creation. The Kumaras, as above mentioned, appeared in the Kaumara creation of the material world and the teachers the process of Brahman realization. They underwent a severe type of disciplinary action as bachelors. These Kumaras are empowered incarnations, and before executing the severe type of disciplinary action, all of them became qualified Brahmanas. This example suggests that one must first acquire the qualifications of a Brahmana, not simply by birth, but also by quality, and then one can undergo the process of Brahman realization. So we will go to the next verse. Canto number 1, chapter number 3, verse number 7. Translation. The supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices accepted the incarnation of a boar, the second incarnations, and for the welfare of earth. He lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe. Purport. The indication is that for each and every incarnation of the personality of Godhead, the particular function executed is also mentioned. There cannot be any incarnation without a particular function, and such functions are always extraordinary. They are impossible for any living being to perform. The incarnation of the boar was to take the earth out of Pluto's region of filthy matter. Picking up something from a filthy place is done by a boar, and the all powerful personality of Godhead displayed this wonder to the Asuras, who had hidden the earth in such a filthy place. There is nothing impossible for the personality of Godhead, and although he played the part of the poor by the devotees he worshipped, staying always in transcendence. So now moving to the next verse, SB 1.3.8. Translation. In the millennium of the rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the empowered incarnation in the form of Devasi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-critic action. Purport. The great Rishi Narada, who is an empowered incarnation of the personality of Godhead, propagates devotional service all over the universe. All great devotees of the Lord, all of the universe and in different planets and as species of life are his disciples. Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Srimad Bhagavatam, is also one of the disciples. Narada is the author of Narada Pancharatra, which is the exposition of the Vedas, particularly for the devotional service of the Lord. This Narada Pancharatra trains the karmis or the Pritivakas to achieve liberation from the bondage of creative work. The conditioned souls are mostly attracted by fruitive work because they went They want to enjoy life by the sweat of their own brows. The whole universe is full of fruitive workers in all species of life. The fruitive workers include all kinds of economic development plans, but the law of nature provides that every action has its resultant reaction, and the performer of the work is bound by such reactions, good or bad. The reaction of good work is comparative material prosperity, whereas the reaction of bad work is comparative material distress. But material conditions, either in so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are all meant ultimately for distress only. Foolish materialists have no information of how to obtain eternal happiness in the unconditioned state. Sri Narada informs these foolish fruitive workers how to realize the reality of happiness. He gives direction to the diseased men of the world how one's present engagement can lead one to the path of spiritual emancipation. The physician directs the patient to take treated milk in the form of cause for the sufferings from indigestion due to his taking another milk preparation. So, the cause of the disease and the remedy of the disease may be the same, but it must be treated by an expert physician like Narada. The Bhagavad Gita also gives the same solution of serving the Lord by the fruits of one's labor. That will lead one to the path of Niskarmya or liberation. Moving to the next verse, SB 1.3.9, translation. In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nara and Narayana, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus, he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses. Purport. Each king Rishabh advised his sons that the Shah or voluntary acceptance of penance or for realization of the transcendence is the only duty of the human being. It was so done by the Lord Himself in an exemplary manner to teach us. The Lord is very kind to the forgetful souls. He therefore comes Himself and leaves behind necessary instructions and also sends His good sons as representatives to call all the conditioned souls back to Godhead. Recently, within the memory of everyone, Lord Chaitanya also appeared for the same purpose, to show special favor to fallen souls of this age of iron industry. The incarnation of Narayana is worshipped still at Badri Narayana on the range of the Himalayas. Moving to the next verse, SB 1.3.10, translation. The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Asuri Brahmana, for in course of time this knowledge had been lost. Purport. The sum total of the creative elements is 24 in all. Each and every one of them is explicitly explained in the system of Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy is generally called metaphysics by the European scholars. The etymological meaning of Sankhya is that which explains very lucidly the analysis of the matter elements. This was done for the first time by Lord Kapila, who is said here is the fifth in the line of incarnations. Moving to the next verse, SB 1.3.11, translation. The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anashriya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlad, and others. Yadu, Hayaya, etc. Purport. The Lord incarnated himself as Dattatreya, the son of Rishi Atri and Anasuya. The history of the birth of Dattatreya as an incarnation of the Lord is mentioned in the Brahmanda Purana in connection with the story of the defeated wife. It is said there that Anasuya, the wife of Rishi Atri, prayed before Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva as follows: My lords, if you are pleased with me and if you to desire me to ask from you some sort of blessings, then I pray that you combine together to become my son. This was accepted by the lords, and as the Dattatreya, the Lord expounded the philosophy of spirit soul and especially instructed Alarka, Prahlad, Yadu, Ehaya, etc. So moving to the next verse, XB 1.3.12. Translation. The seventh incarnation was Yajna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhava Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama. The administrative post occupied by the demigods for maintaining the regulations of the material world are offered to the highly limited pious living beings. When there is a scarcity of such pious living beings, the Lord incarnates himself as Brahma, Prajapati, Indra, etc., and takes up the charge during the period of Swayambhava Manu, the present period of Vaivashtha Manu. Whenever there is a scarcity of such pious living beings, the Lord incarnates himself as Brahma, Prajapati, takes up the charge during the period of Swayambhava Manu, the present period of Vaivashtha Manu. There is no suitable living being who to occupy the post of Indra, the king of the given planet. The Lord himself at that time became Indra, assisted by his own son, like Yama and other demigods. Lord Jagya ruled the administration of the universal affairs. Now moving to the next verse. So meanwhile, I also showing to the hard copy of the book. If you do not have hard copy, you can always contact me or any of the nearest discount table for the hard copy because it's a different experience altogether whenever we're reading the hard copy. So continuing with the next verse, SD 1.3.13 translation. The eighth incarnation was King Rishabh, son of King Nabi and his wife Merudevi. In this incarnation of the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by the all orders of life. Purport. The society of human beings is naturally divided into eight by orders and structures of life, the four divisions of occupational and four divisions of cultural advancement. The intelligent class, the administrative class, the productive class, and the labor class are the four divisions of occupation. And And the student life, the household life, retired life, and renounced adult life are the four statuses of cultural advancement towards the path of industrialization. Out of these, the renounced order of life, or the order of sannyasa, is considered the highest of all. And the sannyasi is constitutionally the spiritual master for all the orders and divisions. In the sannyas order, also there are four stages of upliftment towards perfection. These stages are called Utikacha, Mahadaka, Parivrajakacha, and Paramahansa. The Paramahansa stage of life is the highest. In the sannyas order, also there are four stages of upliftment towards perfection. These stages are called Kutichakra, Bhaktaka, Parivrajacharya, and Paramahansa. The Paramahansa stage of life is the highest stage of perfection. This order of life is respected by all others. Maharaj Rishabh, the son of King Navi and Meldevi, was an incarnation of the Lord, and he instructed his sons to follow the path of perfection by tapasya, which sanctifies one's existence and enables one to attain the stage of still happiness, which is eternal and ever increasing. Every living being is searching for happiness, but no one knows where eternal and unlimited happiness is obtainable. Every living being is searching for after happiness, but no one knows where eternal and unlimited happiness is obtainable. Foolish men seek after material sense pleasure as a substitute for real happiness. But such foolish men forget that temporary so-called happiness derived from subtract substitute for real happiness. But policemen seek after material sense pleasure as a substitute for real happiness. But such policemen forget that temporary so-called happiness derived from sense pleasure is also enjoyed by the dogs and cows. No animal, bird, or beast is bereft of this sense of pleasure. The human form of life, however, is not meant for such cheap happiness. The human life is meant for attaining eternal and unlimited happiness by spiritual realization. This spiritual realization is obtained by tapasya, or undergoing involuntarily the path of penance and abstinence from material pleasure. Those who have been trained for penance, abstinence in material pleasure are called thira, when undisturbed by the senses. Only these thiras can access the aura. Especially is not obtained by tapasya or undergoing voluntarily path of penance and abstinence from the material pleasure. Those who have been trained for abstinence from the material pleasure are called dhira, or men undisturbed by the senses. Only these dhiras can accept the orders of sannyas, and then only these dhiras can accept the orders of sannyas and then gradually rise to the status of the paramahansa, which is adored by all members of society. They can gradually rise to the status of paramahansa, which is adored by all members of society. King Rishabh propagated this mission and at least Only these leaders can access the orders of sannyas and then can gradually rise to the status of the Paramahansa, adored by all members of society. King Rishabh propagated this mission, and at the last stage, he became completely aloof from the material bodily needs, which is a rare stage, not to be. He became completely aloof from the material bodily needs, which is a rare stage, not to be imitated by policemen, but to be worshipped by all. So moving to the next verse, SB 1.3.14. Translation: O Brahmanas, in the ninth incarnation, the Lord prayed for the sages, accept the body of a king, Prithu, who cultivated the land, will eat, and for that reason, the earth was beautiful and attractive. But before the advent, because the advent of the king Prithu, there was great havoc of the administration. This great havoc of maladministration due to the victorious life of the previous king, the father of Maharaja Prithu. Before the advent of King Prithu, there was a great havoc of. Before the advent of King Prithu, there was a great havoc of maladministration due to the victorious life of the previous king, the father of Maharaja Prithu. It's the duty of the king for the pious and thus look after the all around welfare of the citizens. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging, thus look after the all around welfare of the citizens. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty, the intelligent class of men, God, the intelligent class of men, which is of and the Brahmanas, not only plays, it's the duty of the king to pious and thus look after the duty of the king. The intelligent class of men, namely the sages and the Brahmanas, not only prayed for the Lord to come down, but also dethroned the previous king. It is a duty of the king. It is a duty of the king. It is a duty of the king to be pious and thus look after the all around welfare of the citizens. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty, the intelligent class of men must dethrone him. The intelligent class of men, however, do not occupy the royal throne because they have much more important duties for the welfare of the public. Instead of occupying the royal throne, they prayed for the incarnation of the Lord, and the Lord came as Maharaja Prithu. Really intelligent men or qualified Brahmanas never aspire for political posts. Maharaja Prithu excavated many produce from the earth, and thus not only did the citizens become happy to have such a good king, but the complete sight of the earth also became beautiful and attractive. So today we will stop here. In the next session we will continue with verse number 15. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.